We're turning now to some breaking news on the state of the National Flood Insurance Program. U.S. Senator Bill Cassidy has released the findings of a new report centered on the controversial pricing method, Risk Rating 2.0, by the federal government. That report delves into causes and effects of high premiums here in the state of Louisiana. Senator Cassidy is joining us this morning to talk about the key findings as well as his recommendations and next steps. Good morning to you, sir. How are you doing? Thanks for being here.
I'm doing really well. Thanks for having me. Important topic.
Yes, sir. And you've talked about the concerns about this new rating for a while, but your report finds that premiums in Louisiana increased by some 234%, which meant that some 52,000 Louisianians had to drop their policies. Tell us more about what you found here in this extensive reporting.
Yeah, so it's 52,000 people in the New Orleans area who have had to drop their findings. And we have found that the National Flood Insurance Program is totally ignoring the issue of affordability. They are doubling down on trying to make sure that the ratepayers, you and I, pay as much as needed to make sure the program's solvent. Now, part of it is that we're having to pay back the debt associated with Hurricane Katrina when federally built levees failed, and that's what we're paying down. Now, so I say that because our goal should be that the program is affordable, accountable, and sustainable, and FEMA is constructing a program which is going to go out of business. And just when we're seeing flooding around the nation, there won't be protection for those who depend upon the program.
Most definitely. And why do you say that's the case, sir?
Well, because if you look at it, there's about 5 million people who are on the National Flood Insurance Program. If we lose 52,000 people who are relatively low risk, the amount, the kind of burden for paying back all the debt falls upon a smaller group of people. That increases their rates, which means that some can't afford it and a few more drop off. And you keep on concentrating that risk. Now, what we've done with this report, because it's a complicated program, what we've done with this report is made it so that my fellow lawmakers can read this report, they can understand it, and they can partner with us in doing reforms. And so the goal is not just for the general public, it's for my fellow lawmakers, because we've got to make the program sustainable, affordable, and accountable.
Most definitely, sir, because the reality is for most people here, the only flood insurance you're going to get is through that FEMA coverage. FEMA then says that this Flood Insurance 2.0 is a more efficient way of doing it. But if I'm following you correctly, and they've got their data to support that, but your data, at least if I'm following you correctly, if you zero in on that, who's being forced to carry on the burden of that are people who can no longer afford their insurance. But if you continue to zero in, but thus expand out, looking at other states, those states can't handle it either.
If you look at, now I'm so sorry for all the flooding, but I as a lawmaker, I'm looking at that flooding and I see allies. People who used to think the flood insurance program didn't pertain to them, they now understand that we're in the same boat. So Floridians have always known this, but now South Carolinians and North Carolinians, Californians, Tennesseans. And so I'm hoping to build a coalition because now they understand they're being impacted as much as we, and that their constituents, those lawmakers' constituents, cannot afford the program, and the program is being constructed in a way which is going to go out of business. We just want FEMA to kind of think through it with common sense. How do we balance affordability, accountability, and sustainability with who is supposed to actually benefit from the program?
And you say Congress needs to step in order to answer those questions.
Yes, and by the way, there's a former FEMA director who now has an article from about a week ago saying the exact same thing. People are looking at the program now, realizing it has deficiencies. I have a plan. I'm going to get a markup, so to speak. My plan will be considered early in the next Congress. My goal with this white paper is to begin to get the political support for this because I think it's good for our state and it's good for our nation.
Thank you for that, sir. What's your timeline on this?
So I've gotten a commitment from the chair of the banking committee, the incoming chair, whoever he is, for next Congress to have a hearing and then what is called a markup on our plan early next Congress. With that, that's my timeline. By spring of next year, I want this considered by the committee and going to the Senate and then hopefully to the House of Representatives.
And in talking to FEMA, how have the conversations been with them? Again, I mean, this is their plan 2.0. How are they in terms of taking the criticism that it just doesn't work for the people of Louisiana?
It brings to mind, I don't hear, I don't see, and I don't speak. They are trying to defend this as if this is just the exact thing for them to do, ignoring that their own data shows that a million policyholders will drop their policies because of these increased rates. And when you drop a million policyholders, your program begins to enter into a death spiral. We're trying to stop that.
All right, Senator Bill Cassidy, we do thank you for your time this morning. Also, your report. Again, the report is quite extensive. We've read through it. We've got it for our folks here on our website, too. So we do thank you for your time, Senator.
Thanks, Brandon.
And again, we'll have this interview for you on our website this morning, WLTV.com. Also, if you're interested in reading this report, we'll have it there for you, too.